What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for April 5th, 2023. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Before we get into today's show, I have to give a very special This Day in Philly Sports History shout out. On this day, back in 1953, the original GOAT was born. The man that is responsible for my Philadelphia fandom took me to my first Eagles game, first Phillies game, always there for a call when I mess something up when I'm doing home improvements, always there to come down to fix it, to hang out with my kids. Very, very happy birthday to my dad. If you have any way of getting in touch with him, whether it be through Facebook, text message, whatever, pigeon, carrier pigeon, wish him a happy birthday. The greatest of all times turned 70 today. Happy birthday, Dad. I love you. Let's keep it going. All right. So, lot of news last night. Let's start with the Sixers, and they beat Boston 103-101. They tried to blow it. There's just a couple ticky-tack shady calls, and it just was a hot mess there at the end. But I think this is an important win for a couple reasons. Yes, I know there was no Jaylen Brown, and that's okay. I think as far as morale, the Sixers needed this. They were 0-3, especially after blowing that other game right after the All-Star break. This was huge for them, and this hopefully will, because it looks like they're going to catch up with Boston again in the second round. So hopefully this will do wonders for their confidence. Joe said the exact same, and he was not going to lose this game. 52 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 blocks. As Doc said, I don't often agree with Doc Rivers, but the MVP race is over. There's no doubt in my mind. He just came out and emphatically just said, I'm your MVP. Let's hope that translates into some playoff success. Also, they are tied into that 3 seed now. So now we are able to rest guys. At this point, I don't think it's still going to be a stretch with 3 games left to leap up into the 2nd seed. Although stranger things have happened, but I think for all intents and purposes, let's just focus on staying healthy and being locked into that 3 seed. Another big news, Phillies won a game, 4-1. The bullpen looked pretty good, minus Kimbrel's home run he gave up in the 9th. Derek Hall looks good defensively. If he can get the offensive production to be somewhat consistent, hopefully that will make up somewhat for the loss on the field of Reese. As I mentioned before, Reese was one of the leaders of this team, and you're not going to be able to make that up. But if Derek Hall can come in and play some solid defense, I know Kruk was talking a lot about his defense last night and how it was solid. So, good win. Let's carry that momentum. You got Nolan on the mound. You're going against Garrett Cole, but he can be beat. Let's get some momentum, win another game, come back home, and be 2-4. Not the best, but at least you're not 0-6. Flyers lost again 4-2 last night. They're still locked into that 26 seed or 26 place, very solidly too, I might add. They're like 4 points either way because everybody below them keeps losing, except for Chicago, the one team that should be winning. But I don't know. All right, so we are going to go back to 1993 today. And on this date, April 5th, 1993, the Phillies opened up the season in Houston with a 3-1 win. Terry Mulholland went 9 innings to open up the season for the Phillies. Unheard of today. Doug Drabek for the Astros actually went 8 innings in the loss. Again, unheard of. The Sixers. The Phillies had spattered 6 hits all over the different people. Nobody had more than 1 hit. But Darren Daulton, Jim Eisenreich, and Pete Incaviglia off the bench all had the RBI for the Phillies. They ended up sweeping the Astros that year to open the season, and they carried that momentum then to winning the division and the pennant. I believe it was only 1 day early in April that they were not in first place, but they basically almost went wire to wire. They were the last team to win the National League pre-wild card, and they happen to also be the topic of this week's Back to the Future. Just a couple programming notes on that. just with this being spring break, and I do have a lot of house projects going on, and then unfortunately I have my uncle's funeral tomorrow. Not sure when, and then I'm golfing on Friday. Not sure what the timing of this week's episode is going to be. It might not be till the weekend that I get to record, but I'll keep you posted on that on this podcast. But we're going to take a look at the 93 Phils on Back to the Future this week. All right, let's go to our Eagles draft pick spotlight, and this one is an interesting one. We're going to spotlight Paul McFadden. The Cleveland native went to Youngstown State, and he was a kicker. He was a 12th round pick, number 312 overall. Remember, there wasn't as many teams, so in order to have enough players to fill out, the draft was a lot longer. Now it's 7 rounds after they expanded this last time. But in 1984, Paul McFadden was a 12th round pick of the Eagles. He played 84 through 87 with the Eagles. Now, the interesting part about him was there's a couple interesting facts. He was a barefoot kicker. And for some reason, somebody thought that kickers could have a better chance of hitting the sweet spot of the football and I don't know, more control over it. I mean, you're kicking a ball that's oblong, so I don't know, but hey, kickers, we always say and always know that they're the kookiest guys on the field sometimes. So if they want to walk around in the snow and bare feet, hey, more power to you. But the Eagles had an interesting history with barefoot kickers. The first barefoot kicker who was actually pretty good, first ever to do it, was Tony Franklin, and he played for the Eagles from 1979 to 1983 until they drafted Paul McFadden. Now, whether they drafted McFadden because he was a barefoot kicker or not, I don't know. It just kind of was a little bit of irony there. So the Eagles had a long line of barefoot kickers. In case you're wondering, the last barefoot kicker was Jeff Wilkins in 2002. He started the season off, and then come October, I don't know whether his foot was cold or what, but he started wearing a shoe, and nobody else has done it since. But back to Paul McFadden. He led the NFL in field goals with 30 in 1984. He was named the UPI NFC Rookie of the Year that year. Now, there was all the news services had their own Rookie of the Years. I don't think he's recognized as the official Rookie of the Year, but for the UPI, he was the NFC Rookie of the Year. Louis Lips was the AFC, in case you were wondering. He was the Eagles co-MVP in 1984 and 85. He ended up finishing out his career, I think he played for the Giants and then the Falcons a couple years and then was out of the league. But Paul McFadden, one of the barefoot kickers in the NFL, pretty good for a couple years. Too bad he was on a shitty team, which is probably why he was the co-MVP of those teams. But led the league in field goals in 1984 as a rookie, UPI Rookie of the Year, and continued the proud tradition of barefoot kickers for the Eagles. So there you go. But Paul McFadden, today's Eagles draft pick spotlight, 12th round pick in 1984. Let's hope the Phillies keep that momentum rolling. They look good. You could even tell they had a little bit of a swag back last night, and I don't know whether they're getting frustrated. Like, I could see them totally coming out today and having an offensive explosion. Hopefully Nola can get things settled. Sixers, just stay healthy. That's all I want now. The last 3 games of the regular season, just stay healthy. It's looking like they probably will play the Nets last time I saw in the first round. No Ben Simmons for there, so that would be good. Like I said, shout out to the original GOAT and happy birthday to my dad. If you have any way of getting in touch with him, wish the man a happy birthday. He certainly deserves it. He's indirectly probably responsible for this podcast. So thank you, Dad. Happy birthday. I love you. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Wednesday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.